Hello, thank you for choosing my video. Today I'll be talking about my thoughts on chapter 12. This first idea is found pretty early in chapter 12, and it has to do with Freud's concept of mind and how the mind is structured. Now he believed that there are three divisions. There's ego, superego, and ID. And ID is sort of the unconscious energy behind all of our motivations. It is the aggressive sexual desire, that sort of basic selfishness. And I think in the sense that is partially correct. If you look in Galatians chapter 5, it talks about for the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit. I think that implies that we have a naturally selfish tendency. And Freud is almost onto something here. I think he's wrong about a lot of things, but I think on this instance, he does have a certain degree of correctness. Now, another psychologist, Carl Rogers, actually disagreed with Freud in this concept. He believed, this is on page 258, that humans are actually innately good. He said that people are basically good, meaning that our basic tendency is for benign activity. And I believe I have a couple thoughts on that. The first thought is that this doesn't make evolutionary sense. Now, if we did really evolve from monkeys, it doesn't make sense that we would have benign tendencies. If we really did evolve, we should be aggressive, because the aggressive ones would be the ones to get the food and survive. The ones who were nice and gave away their food, those would be the ones to die and not pass on their traits. So for this reason, I believe that Carl Rogers is sort of wrong if he really is an evolutionist, as many modern scientists are. My second thought is that since we know we were created, we didn't just evolve, Carl Rogers might actually be on to some correct idea, because we were created in the image of God, meaning we should have some innate goodness within us that's in conflict with our basic flesh desires. So it's an interesting discussion of how innately good we really are. I believe our flesh is evil, but our spirit was created good, so there's an interesting conflict, and it's hard to really define what our basic composition really is. My next thought is found on page 355, and it's the Rorschach test, where you can look at an ink blot and you think of what shape you see. Now, I saw a pelvis, a human pelvis, when I saw that right away, which is interesting because the book talks about how you should either see two bears or some weapons, and I saw a piece of anatomy. So I thought that was interesting, because I am a biology major, I study anatomy, want to be a doctor, so it is very interesting that I saw that. The book talks about how these tests aren't very good, they're very inaccurate, they misdiagnose people to have disorders, and it's just not a very useful test. But I don't know, I thought it might have worked for me. I was wondering what you saw when you looked at that picture. I saw a pelvis. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you. My next thought is found later on in the chapter, and it's on page 367. It's about self-esteem. I've been thinking about self-esteem for a few years now. I had a little paper on it years ago in high school, and I believe that self-esteem absolutely is important. We got to know that we are created in the image of God, and He has a purpose for all us in our lives. And if we fulfill that, then we have fulfillment, and we are very important. We should have good self-esteem in Christ. But if you have a more humanistic, materialistic view of self-esteem, absolutely it can become destructive. High self-esteem can quickly turn to narcissism and self-obsession. If you noticed over the past few years, children get participation awards just for being in an event. When I was in swim team in the summers, when I was living in America, I always got the participation award at the end of the season, even if I had performed swim terribly. All the kids got those little trophies just for showing up to meets and to practice. And that's pretty common all through sports. Children's sports, they always get the trophy at the end of the season. And it's just a sport their self-esteem. Even if they didn't perform, they say, oh, here's a trophy. You did all right. You tried. You didn't win, but here you go. You're important, even though you didn't do very well. And I think that does overinflate self-esteem. I think praise should follow actual achievement. Going back a bit to page 359, back to Carl Rogers' ideas of humanistic theories, he says something on that page that says, the only question which matters is, am I living in a way which is deeply satisfying to me and which truly expresses me? I think that's a very dangerous idea. If you're only thinking about yourself, it's a very selfish way to live. And it's very destructive, I think, and it goes into the very nature of sin. And what's interesting is that this book even talks about how important it is to cultivate spirituality and generosity. But how do you do those things if you're looking at yourself? That is a very strange thought to me.
In Soviet Russia, the furball coughs up the cat.